Hello and thanks for tuning in to the show that goes around the continent to bring you stories near and far. I'm Kayode Kikilu at Channels Television here in Lagos, and I'm joined by Vincent McCory from Voice of America in Washington, D.C.
Thanks, I'm Vincent McCory at the Voice of America. Happy to be with you again for another edition of Africa 54. Let's start off with the latest from Nigeria. Channels Television brings you that story.
Experts in the field of climate change have warned the 11 Nigerian northern states most affected by desert encroachment to rigorously fight against human activities, which is crippling the ecosystem of the region. Some of the experts in this special report say that unless drastic action is put in place, its effect will continue to fuel insecurity in the region, as many farmers around the riverine areas have lost their means of livelihood, forcefully becoming environmental refugees.
A state with 45,502 square kilometers is one of the northern states that has adversely been affected by desert encroachment, making movement of goods for economic activities difficult. Although the government plants trees to avert the desertification, other factors such as tree felling to source for energy is contributing to deforestation. The state's program, Agroclimatic Resilience in Semi-Arid Landscapes, is taking a multi-sectoral approach through the inauguration of a 9-man management committee in each of the 17 local government areas to address these challenges.
This project is a local base, and whatever activities are implemented at the local level, it must be owned by the community. So therefore, involvement of the community is a key priority of implementing the activities of this project.
The inauguration of the local government monitoring committee is part of the prerequisite of ACRESAL. The same committee was inaugurated at the national level. The same committee was also inaugurated at the state level. And to actually coin it off, this is the last batch and the last entry of the committee, federal, state, and the local government. So by this activity of today, we have concluded the complete structure of ACRESAL. Now what is left is just work.
Some of the committee members believe that the implementation of the program at the grassroots level will help the government achieve its goals faster.
This project is very, very important to Yobe State. As some of us may know, the entire Yobe, I would say about 70% of the state is being faced by desertification. And with this project, inshallah, we were able to fight the desertification.
The project, which is concurrently executed across 19 northern states of the country and the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, is to last for the next 6 years.
And joining us to discuss efforts to recover desert encroachment in northern Nigeria is a project coordinator of ACRESAL, Mr. Shehu Mohammed. ACRESAL is agro-climate resilient in semi-arid landscapes. Thank you for joining us on Africa 54.
Thank you so much, and welcome.
Well, desertification is caused by human activities and natural disaster due to climate change. Tell us, what exactly is Yobe government doing to avert this dangerous trend?
Thank you once again. The aspect of desert encroachment in Nigeria and in northern Nigeria, and particularly in Yobe, is something which is very, very dreadful for the following reasons. One, Yobe State happened to share borders with Niger Republic, a distance of 323 kilometers. And this very long area is covered with no trees, no shrubs, or no grasses, telling you that the entire land was submerged by desert encroachment. These areas I'm talking to you now, they have never, ever experienced low shortage of rainfall than this year.
But there's a very important part of this whole conversation, and that is getting the buy-in of people. How is Yobe going to carry the people of the state along to enable efficient achievement of this goal?
Thank you. The structure of ACRESAL from the World Bank is being chaired by tax team leader. And then we have steering committee at the federal. The Minister of Environment is the chairman of the steering committee, and he's being co-chaired by the Minister of Agriculture and Water Resources. The same structure is being demonstrated here in Yobe State. The Commissioner of Environment happened to be the chairman for steering committee and co-chaired by the Commissioners of Agriculture and Water. The DPM of the local government is the chairman, and then he has another additional 9 members. In addition to that, every intervention sites that are across the 19 states of Nigeria and the FCT, these structures are the same. So 9 members from the local governments include the traditional rulers, include women folk, include the youth, include the civil societies and what have you. And in all our interventions, we don't normally bang into the community that we are going to do this to you. It is the community, it is community driven. The community will actually say what they should do, and then ours is to look at the appropriate component and then fix in the intervention, and then go with them hand to hand. Let me use this opportunity. It was during one of our advocacy visits in one of the areas, one of the local government used by the local government. The district heads was telling us that hitherto, there is nothing like dry land or where you can see desert in the whole of Yuspari. So telling you that this thing just occurred abruptly.
Okay.
But hitherto the entire area, because of the interface of the communities, that they are telling us that their area before is green, but now it has turned into brown.
Oh dear. Now, on a wider scale, are the other states of the north who benefiting from this project, are they in sync? Are you on the same page? Is there some coordination amongst the states?
Thank you for actually answer this question. We have many things in common. We have meetings together. In fact, to actually answer this question, we have been blessed by a basin. This basin is called KYB, Komadugum Basin. And this basin started somewhere around Plateau State. And from Plateau, it at the upper stream, and Kano, then Bauchi and Jigawa at the midstream, and then Borno and Yobe happen to be at the lower stream. But to tell you that actually we work in synergy, we work in collaborations, whatever kind of intervention that ACRESAL is going to do, you should actually come together, and then discuss about what you are going to do. If Kano is trying to venture into any activity which may be detrimental to the people of Jigawa and Bauchi.
Mr. Shehu Mohammed, Project Coordinator, ACRESAL, would like to thank you so much for joining us on Africa 54 today. We wish you the very best.
Thank you so much. I am most honored.
We want to know what you think about Africa 54 and the stories we cover. Join the conversation on Facebook. The address is Africa 54, and check out our headlines 24/7 on voaafrica.com. After the break, meet a Nigerian journalist keeping an eye on the actions of the Russian mercenary group Wagner in Africa. Welcome back to Africa 54. I'm Vincent McCory in Washington. For years, Nigerian journalist Philip Obaji Jr. has investigated the actions of Russian mercenary group Wagner in Africa. It's a beat that comes with challenges. VOA News reporter Christina Caicedo-Smith has the story.
As an investigative journalist in Nigeria, Philip Obaji Jr. has covered a lot over the years, including extremist groups, human trafficking, and abuse of civil liberties. But one story really captured the attention of this reporter for the Daily Beast, Russia's Wagner Group in West Africa.
And even with the death of its founder, Yevgeny Prigozhin, there's still so much around this group that we haven't spoken about that we need to tell the world about.
Obaji will continue his reporting on the mercenary organization through a Jim Hoke Reporting Fellowship, awarded by the International Center for Journalists, or ICFJ. The ICFJ honored Obaji and other journalists in Washington late September.
So these journalists have different approaches to telling really interesting stories, often about communities that are undercovered in the regular media.
Obaji's interest in Wagner Group started in 2018, when 3 Russian journalists were killed on a remote road in the Central African Republic. The trio was investigating the activities of Russian military contractors in the area.
And I wanted to really know exactly what this group was doing in that country, and so that's why I picked up interest. And each time I ask questions, there's always another question to ask, because I get answers that really leaves gaps in between.
But covering such a story has its risks.
I mean, 3 Russian journalists went to investigate and then they got killed. Local journalists will try to investigate or ask questions about the Wagner group, either get disappeared or somehow targeted by whether it's Wagner or government forces.
The non-profit press freedom organization Reporters Without Borders describes the Central African Republic as a dangerous place, where journalists are often the targets of threats and violence and subject to pressure from both armed groups and authorities.
That coverage is hardly there in the country because of fear. Yeah, but there are brave local journalists who will try to work, anonymously with the foreign media to help these stories get out.
With many journalists fearful of covering sensitive issues and sources scared to go on record, reporting on groups like Wagner, it's tough. So, fellowships, like the one Obaji received, can help reporters cover difficult stories and reach wider audiences.
It is a really interconnected and global society, and what happens in Africa or what happens in South America have ramifications on how we choose to act and what we choose to support and how we want to move forward as a global community.
After his brief visit to Washington, Obaji returns to Nigeria to continue his work on a long-form project focused on the Wagner Group. Cristina Caicedo-Smith, VOA News, Washington.
Well, South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa says that challenges facing small businesses are exacerbated by the monopolies that control access to markets and create barriers for entrepreneurs. Mr. Ramaphosa was speaking at the 2nd National Presidential SMEs and Cooperatives Awards in Johannesburg. Well, the award ceremony, hosted by the Department of Small Business Development, serves as a platform to recognize and celebrate the achievements of entrepreneurs who play a crucial role in contributing to the country's economic growth. Our South Africa correspondent, Innocent Samosa, brings us more on this story.
This annual ceremony serves as a platform to acknowledge, encourage and celebrate excellence among small, medium and micro enterprises and cooperatives. The event comes at a time when entrepreneurs are facing many challenges such as policy implementation, access to funding and regulatory burden, to name a few. President Cyril Ramaphosa acknowledged that these challenges are exacerbated by the monopolies that control access to markets and create barriers for entrepreneurs.
One of the big challenges with our economy, as observed by the World Bank, as observed by the IMF, is that there's too much concentration in our economy. There's too much centralized ownership.
Department of Small Business Development Minister Stella Ndabeni-Abrahams says the department has exceeded the target of incubators.
On business development and skills services, we have surpassed our target on establishing incubators, which we are developing in partnership with universities and TVET.
Winners say they are inspired to do more and contribute to better the economy.
I am inspired because I think Africa has so much to offer. If you look at East Africa, West Africa, we have amazing commodities from cocoa, but are more about how do we process all those products here and have proudly owned African products.
Yes, I'm inspired to do more. And for me, this is confirmation that the work that we do is necessary and that we are seen, because in our work, we take financial literacy education to communities. So choosing to do professional work as a certified financial planner within the communities and being called to global stages like this one, it's something that we are very proud of.
So excited, it's so nice when government actually notices us hustlers and gives us encouragement to push on. It's not easy being a hustler, so they call it. So yes, I'm very excited.
I've been in this journey for quite some time now, and predominantly started the journey as a township entrepreneur,
I think the challenges there are even more difficult.
Well, entrepreneurs in South Africa are increasingly operating in a volatile environment. From Johannesburg, South Africa, Innocent Samosa, Channels Television News.
A Kenyan innovator is recycling fish skin into leather clothes through a process known as fish skin tanning. As Juma Majanga reports from Kisumu, Kenya, a Newton Owino's enterprise also aims to sustainably manage waste emanating from the fish filleting industries along the Lake Victoria coast.
It's sunrise in Kajulu village overlooking Lake Victoria, and another busy day for Newton Owino. Growing up in the area, Owino saw the challenges posed by fish waste on the lake environment. Today, he recycles discarded fish skins, turning them into leather products like hats and shoes that are exported to fashion markets in the United States and Europe.
I came from a school of thought that environmental solutions can only be found locally. You don't need to solve it from outside. You can only look for local solutions to your problems. And therefore, I felt like I could develop business enterprises out of those problems.
The tanning process uses plant-based organic products that are sourced locally. Owino pays women, youth, and people living with disabilities to collect the fish skins before processing them and making the leather products. Maximila Achieng, a fish vendor in Kisumu, is among those impressed by Owino's idea.
Before, the fish skin was useless. We could just dry it and use it as firewood because we didn't know any other way to use it. But now we use it to make products like shoes, belts, jackets, bags, and so on.
Achieng's sentiments are echoed by shoemakers like Frederick Okuma.
Leather from fish skin is really good. It makes durable, high-quality shoes, which customers prefer.
According to local government officials, Kisumu hosts 9 fish filleting industries producing approximately 150,000 metric tons of fish waste annually, 80% being in the form of fish skin, which lets out a strong odor when decomposing and in high concentration can contaminate the water.
We are looking at the material recovery centers where waste is separated and weighed and sold. The people who are bringing waste into the recovery centers are paid. It is the same thing we want to do with the fish waste. Now it's not waste, it's money.
Owino says his enterprise aims to sustainably manage waste emanating from the fish filleting industries along Lake Victoria.
Our business is anchored in protection of the 4 H's: animal health, plant health, environmental health, and human health.
It is also a profitable business, he says, and the demand is much higher than what he can produce. He is currently working on expanding production. With the increasing effects of climate change, populations are increasingly developing an environmental conscience, increasing the demand for such sustainable products like recycled fish leather. Juma Majanga of VOA News, Kisumu, Kenya.
It was chosen to spark conversations amongst artists and guests about critical issues, one of which is how immigration affects those who have left the country and those who stayed behind. ArtX Lagos, which concluded on November the 5th, provides a platform for artists to connect and discuss positive change for Africa.
A certain area reminiscent of Nigeria's 60s and 70s era, complete with antique green-flowered fabric armchairs, a VHS cassette player, and framed graduation pictures, was one of the many pieces on display at this year's ArtX Fair in Lagos. Titled The Hands That Remain and curated by Papa Omotayo and Max Kalawo, this space brings back nostalgic memories of Nigeria and ignites conversations on how immigration affects life in Nigeria, as well as the lives of those in new communities in other countries. Lawyer Fetu Pai and a friend walking on the scene, feeling and looking at pieces that remind them of a time long ago and people whom they may never see again.
We have to make adjustments. So you know that time zones are different, calls will be different, but we then have to ensure that we're nurturing the relationships, whether the relationships are here in Lagos or they're in London or they're in Germany. We have to do the work to preserve our friendships.
In another room, guests watch a visual display of our Nigerian artists combine words and images to critique and challenge narratives and the absence of women cartoonists until the 1990s. Hundreds of Nigerians are leaving the country and causing a brain drain that is punishing even for a nation used to losing its young and educated. The phenomenon dubbed Japa, meaning to flee in Yoruba, impacts nearly every sector and has stretched a weak healthcare system.
Our theme this year, the dialogue, was very carefully chosen. As a team, we looked around and we said to ourselves, there's so much happening. We can reflect, we can converse, we can learn, and we can together start to think about how we wish to move ourselves forward, how we wish to move our societies forward.
A Nigerian artist living in Vienna, Belinda Kazim Kaminski, presents a series of photographs that remind one of West Africa's past studio photography. She believes ArtX can be a platform that connects various people across the continent to network and create future projects after the fair. ArtX is an annual art fair held in Lagos, attracting guests from across Africa and beyond.
A center in Lome, Togo is offering free training to young unemployed mothers looking for a way to support their families. It's called the Moms in Digital program, and the goal is to get more women into digital careers. Amin Asigno has the story narrated by Salim Solomon.
These mothers are waiting for their turn to be interviewed. They're all beneficiaries of a program called Moms in Digital, an initiative that offers unemployed mothers a space to learn the skills needed to build a new career online. Lina Ninavi founded the program. Ninavi says the program started when the women met 6 years ago to discuss issues focusing on education and childcare. But later, they found out that mothers need more.
En fait, on avait créé la communauté Les Mamans de Lomé il y a 6 ans.
Many women today quit their jobs because of the difficulty in finding reliable nannies. We understood that we had to find them professional opportunities that did not force them to separate from their babies. So that's how Moms in Digital was born.
Et qu'elles avaient du mal à prendre soin de leurs enfants.
Marie Balbako is one of the program's participants. Unemployed for 6 months, this mother of 3 decided to embark on a new adventure.
It's an opportunity that will benefit me since it's digital. Now we're using WhatsApp and Facebook. Maybe there is even more to learn. I want to get into business.
For the 2 months, these women will learn the fundamentals of information technology or IT, digital marketing and business administration, says trainer Ella Asababil.
On va les initier d'abord à l'informatique.
We will first introduce them to the basics of computers, what a computer is, and then management tools. We teach them how to use Microsoft Excel and Microsoft Word. Then we introduce them and show them in depth how, for example, with Excel, they can make tables to manage their income.
Excel, faire des tableaux pour gérer leurs revenus.
At the end of the program, students are connected with job opportunities. They'll be qualified to do online sales and have the tools necessary to go into administrative management. All they need is a computer and a good internet connection. For Amin Asigno in Lomé, Togo, Salim Solomon, VOA News.
Well, and that's our show for today. You can find all the continent's top news and world news online at voaafrica.com. Check it out. I'm Vincent McCory in Washington. Channels Television has our last word.
We look forward to bringing you another show next week. Do remember that channelstv.com is your source for news and other programming. I'm Kaido Kikulu. Thanks for watching and goodbye.